This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. So, over the course of the last few years, I've done so many videos on the threat of white supremacy, the threat of white nationalism, the threat that the very real existential threat to our country, to our nation, to our democracy of white separatists. And then on the other side, maybe as my analog, you've got someone like Tucker Carlson, who just refuses to even admit that white supremacy is a thing. Certainly, if it's not a thing, it's not a threat, right? Well, I'm going to read from this ABC News article. First of all, let me also say this. Christopher Wray, the FBI director, has said that what was the white supremacy convictions? FBI Director Christopher Wray testified earlier this year that the number of domestic terrorism investigations into white supremacist individuals and groups has tripled since he joined the Bureau in 2017. Tripled. So this non-issue, this non-threat that culminated in an insurrection against the United States, idiots wearing Camp Auschwitz shirts, white nationalists and oath keepers and Proud Boys, this disparate orbit set of satellite organizations that all share in this protection of Western civilization, code word for white people. They're not a threat. They're not real. Anyway, I'm going to read from this article. Newly released FBI tapes show white supremacist members of the base plotting terror attacks. The two men were sentenced last month to 9 years in federal prison. Not a short term. 9 years for threats of terrorism. For a month, FBI agents listened in as two members of a white supremacist group discussed their sinister plans. A plot to use a pro-gun rights rally in Richmond, Virginia, to engage in mass murder and attacks on critical infrastructure, which they believed would mark the start of a racial civil war. Because that is their objective. One, chaos, which coincidentally is also the objective of the Republican Party, and also to harm people of color, which coincidentally is also an objective of the Republican Party. Patrick Matthews, a former Canadian Army reservist, illegally in the United States. Oh, what? What's that you say? These people who go on, yammer on about immigration, illegal immigration? Oh, what about this guy? Oh, he's white. He gets a pass. And Brian Lemley, a Maryland resident and self-described white nationalist, fantasized about the brutal murders they'd soon carry out against law enforcement and black people, all with the goal of bringing about the boogaloo, or the collapse of the United States government in order to prop up a white ethno-state, according to recordings of the pair's discussions. Quote, "We need to go back to the days of decimating blacks and getting rid of them where they stand," Matthews said in one of the recordings. "If you see a bunch of blacks sitting on some corner, you fucking shoot them." Quote, "I need to claim my first victim," Lemley said in another recording. "It's just that we can't live with ourselves if we don't get somebody's blood on our hands." It's just that we can't live with ourselves if we don't get somebody's blood on our hands. I couldn't find the full set of recordings, but here is a smattering from ABC who published this in their broadcast. Watch this.
The time for violent revolution is now. If you want the white race to survive, you're going to have to do your part.
To go back to the days of decimating blacks and getting rid of them wherever they stand. While the Virginia situation is happening, make other things happen. Derail some rail lines. Great, let's shut down the rest of the roads. You can kick off the economic collapse of the U.S. within a week.
Not a threat. Right. 9 years in prison. Going back to the article, the two men were each sentenced in late October to 9 years in prison, and ABC News has now obtained the newly released audio from the FBI secret recordings of Matthews and Lemley at their Delaware residence in late 2019. Those tapes that I just played. Some of the tapes. The tapes offer a chilling look into the private plotting of two members of the Base, a white supremacist and extremist group that the FBI says has since 2018 recruited members both in the United States and abroad through a combination of online chat rooms, private meetings, and military-style training camps. Because that is what, listen, remember the video of the Capitol, the insurrection, and they're moving in military formation, one hand on the shoulder in a snake running up the stairs? These people like to cosplay as military, and unfortunately, some people who are former military get involved. They have an anti-government sentiment and a separatist sentiment, and they join these militia groups. And this is what we're seeing. In their plea agreements and sentencing, Matthews and Lemley both acknowledged their membership in the group. After the two men were arrested in January 2020, just days before the Richmond rally was set to take place, law enforcement found tactical gear, 1,500 rounds of ammunition, and packed cases of food and supplies in their residence. In the course of their investigation, they also found Lemley and Matthews had both attended military-style training camps with other members of the base and had built a functioning assault rifle that they tested out at a gun range in Maryland. The recordings captured by the FBI include Matthews and Lemley discussing potential acts of terror that they could carry out at the Richmond rally that would lead authorities and eventually the United States government to capitulate to the chaos and bloodshed taking place. This is a quote from one of them. "You want to create fucking some instability while the Virginia situation is happening? Make other things happen," Matthews said. "Derail some rail lines, shut down the highways, shut down the rest of the roads, kick off the economic collapse of the United States within a week after the Boogaloo starts." Now, as with a lot of the Capitol insurrectionists, the attempted usurpers of democracy, they sing a different tune. They whistle a different tune when they're in court before the judge, being judged for their crime. With imminent sentences of years in prison, they don't have such a tough guy persona. I'm going to read a little bit from this Hill article, 2 paragraphs. The article, if you want to read it for yourself, FBI says white supremacists were recorded plotting terror attacks in Virginia. You see what I do here? I don't just read one article to give you the information. I read a panoply of different articles to get the fulsome understanding of the reporting. But listen to this. This wasn't in the ABC article. They're singing a different tune when they're before the judge. Both men said last month that their conversations recorded of the two of them did not reflect who they were as people. The Associated Press reported that FBI recordings of the two also revealed that they had wanted to free mass murderer Dylan Roof from jail and kill a Virginia lawmaker. And then here's the quote of, "Oh, the poor sad guy. This is not who I am. The things I said are horrible and don't reflect who I really am or who my family raised me to be," Lemley said in October, according to the AP. Quote, "Murder was never in my heart, only foolish dreams of war glory and valor." Hold on to that while you're in prison for nearly a decade, you dipshit. You un-American turd. Both of you. Well, one of you isn't American. Canadian. Illegal immigrant. We face a very real threat in this country, an existential one. We need to be fighting for our democracy on a daily basis. And it is alarming that more is not being done by the United States Department of Justice. Where is Merrick Garland? Merrick Garland? Where are you, buddy? I don't see that you're doing anything. 2 arrests. when there's an entire group of individuals who also attended training camps? Where are we there? Why is this entire group not being dismantled as an enemy of the United States? They're clearly an enemy of the government. And if the government is we the people, by extension, the transitive property, they are an enemy of us. They are an enemy of we the people. They have declared war on us. What do you think? I'd love to know. I really would love to know. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. This is not the way I wanted to end my Friday production schedule of making videos. Follow me on social media. I'd love to connect with you there. I'm at Dollemore, at DOLLEMORE, all the way across the board. You can find me anywhere. I love you guys. I'd love to have you help support my work, help me grow the operation here into something a lot more dynamic. We're adding a lot of things, and you can be a part of it. You can click the join button below this video, become a channel member, $2 a month, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Anyway, enjoy yourself. We got a fight ahead of us, but that does not mean we can't be happy and that things aren't inherently good. I love you. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.